How you doing, everybody? Thanks for stopping by and joining us today for another Rollin' Over the Hill right here on the Live to Roll channel. And thanks to all of you for being part of Live to Roll family. Also, I'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. They're a great and helpful group of experts that are very much part of our community and can help you with all your mobility and rehab equipment, as well as your catheter needs. So a big thanks to them for sponsoring Live to Roll. On today's show, we will be joined by our guest, Sue Waller. She is both a friend and peer to the Live to Roll family, as well as a member of the Staying Driven Fitness team. We'll be talking about wheelchair culture and lifestyle. There's plenty to talk about and share, so please make sure to include your questions, comments, and views in the chat, and don't forget to hit that like button. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Soto. I'm a T12 spinal cord injury from a motorcycle racing accident a little more than 50 years ago. So let's get started and welcome my co-host Luis and Bobby. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having us. I'm Bobby Rohan, C56 quadriplegic of 35 years in Southern California here. And I'm going to introduce Luis.
Hey, everybody. I'm Luis. I've been injured for 44 years. I was injured in North Dakota on an oil rig and came back here to Los Angeles for my rehab. And was born and raised here in Los Angeles, so of course I stayed.
Mhm.
And I hang out with these guys and Live to Roll and Triumph Foundation and several other groups here in Southern California and travel around a bit, including the rest of the state. I was going to ask Sue, are you from Northern California,
Yeah, Bay Area.
the Bay Area?
The Bay Area.
I had several family members that live in that area, and now they've either moved a little bit north or moved a little bit south. They used to live over in Danville and Alamo.
Yeah, it's close to me. Yeah.
Well, I want to introduce our guest because she's a personal friend now, I would say, not just a person I know on the screen. I got to meet up with her last year, or no, now it's 2 years ago, believe it or not. We got to go do a hike in the Redwood Forest and a bunch of fun stuff. So, my friend, and who I get to yell at every day when she's working out and tell her to lift her arms up even more, Sue Waller. Welcome, Sue. And if you can give us a little background of yourself
Yeah, I was injured. Okay. Injured more than 40 years ago, and I was 16. It was a diving accident, and I'm C56 also. And kind of early retired and enjoying life right now.
So, what were you doing beforehand?
I was we'll call like staffing consultant or recruiter. Worked for lots of companies like Google and Niantic and many others. I worked a lot of hours, so it's a big difference being retired.
For those out there, always thinking about working, whenever I entered the workforce and different jobs that I had, it was, to bust, when I was young in my 20s, yeah, working 40, 60, 70 hours a week, I could do it. But once I got into my 40s, it was much harder. Did you find that to be the same? And how did those long hours translate into your body at the end of the day or end of the week?
Yeah, well, I guess when I was younger, I was doing a lot of hours plus running kids around. I had two kids, so soccer games, ballet, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. So, I didn't ever have time for myself, it felt like. So then when I got older, they were a little older, but I got to the point where I realized this is not good for me. And the stress, you can work a lot of hours and love it, or you can work a lot of hours and not be appreciated as much. So my last job, I was quite appreciated and I liked that. So it's a lot easier. But I decided I had enough of long hours.
Yeah, most definitely. And as Shawn pointed out, October is Disability Employment Month. So get out there and tell people hire for those that are looking for a job. So you've been injured how long, Sue?
More than 40 years. I just say that now.
Yeah,
There you go.
Otherwise, it will start aging me too much. Yeah.
yeah, really.
We
You and me
won't go
both.
that far. You were very young. And that's all we know. You were very, very young. That's great. We have a great topic today. We're talking about wheelchair culture and lifestyle, and kind of what that means to us, and maybe could mean for somebody out there. Um, there's a whole bunch of examples that we can pull from. I said fight. We can pull from whatever you decide to be involved with, and when you are doing that, that creates your lifestyle and and the culture that might have to go around it, whatever that activity or project that it might be. It can start out from being anywhere from your home life in the community um, to wheelchair sports or wheelchair technology, and how we're represented out there, and that it's always in the good and the better interest, and then it's not. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Robert. You're the one that kind of came up with this gray, and it's a huge topic. Um,
Yeah,
but what?
sure. Yeah, no problem. For me, I mean, it depends on, first off, because it's such a swipe at saying wheelchair culture. I mean, it's basically a disability culture, because looking into more of what our direction is on this is, disability too is a broad stroke as well, because it's so diverse. It could be impairment, could be disability. So it just depends on how you look at how you're looking at it. So for me, I think it's more like the sense of community, achievement, accomplishment that you share within the community, and some of that, and most of the time, and sometimes it does spill into outside the community. So for me, I was late to the game coming to the community. I've been in a chair over 50 years now, um, and I didn't really become part of the community or the culture. I was disabled, but wasn't part of the um, the lifestyle and all that. I was out doing my thing. I first couple of years, I was involved with the wheelchair friends and things like that, and then I kind of went off my own direction to go to work and school and finish all that up. So I um, really didn't have a lot of friends in chairs or anything like that. And the ones I did have, unfortunately passed earlier in my wheelchair life. So I was, everywhere I went, I was the only guy in with a disability. I mean, a legit disability, because I worked for the same company for many, many years. I worked 42 years before I retired, and so it's a whole different game for me, and I found a sense of camaraderie within the community. I do like the fact that we share lifestyles, which is, there's plenty of things you can have that's a fragment of your lifestyle that's not, it's for everybody, but there's also a big center core of the community that's shared and understood and things like that. So I really do enjoy being around my friends in the community, and I look forward to a lot of the events and just the positivity, the sharing of experiences and the knowledge. Um, I I think that's pretty much for me what makes the culture um, special, because we've all been through something that we can relate to, not maybe the same experience, same journey or that, but we all understand, whether you're quad, para, or whatever. It's just part of it. And I'm still, like I said, it's been 2018 was when I started, you know, finding out about Triumph and stuff like that. So that's how long it's been for me. But it's been a it's been a good and necessary journey for me, because it does give me that sense of belonging. Uh, because there's places where you go, and I've always had intermix and mingle with some of these at my events for job and all that. And it was a lot of people that knew me, that worked for me and all that stuff, understood me and had a good idea of me. But there was a lot of people that when you had these national events for the company that didn't know me, and I kind of like didn't. That's what made me feel uncomfortable. But then I kind of settled down a little bit and all that, and kind of get myself focused. But anyway, kind of done babbling there. So yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. But it's a broad stroke, the culture piece.
If you think about it though, what you were doing is creating a culture and lifestyle for yourself. And I think that goes with all of us here when we get into a workforce and nobody there is disabled and you're hanging around all these able bodies, being able to reach up. And what we did is we went in and created what workspace can be accessible for us. And that might even go towards
Yep.
your hours and stuff like that. And hopefully we don't get burned out by doing more than we have to. So what we're doing is creating it. Now there's others out there that are a lot easier to obtain, especially when we get into groups of like support groups or adaptive sports, going out to a recreational event and knowing that there'll be many different variety of those who have different disabilities besides ourselves with spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you might be right, Bobby. Before we just go on about creating that culture, it's kind of laying the foundation for. It was laying the foundation for me, but I think maybe letting other people see the culture from their perspective. From mine, it was a whole different thing. But they got to see that there is, that what I can do, and not so much, the stereotypes that they may create or that's been created in the past or whatever. Because, like I said, we talked about this on previous shows about when I got hurt in the early '70s. Vietnam was people were coming home from Vietnam, so I think that was also. I know it started earlier, but that was kind of a push for a culture, the lifestyle piece, because there had to have something happening because there's so many people who are coming back with disabilities.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How about you, Luis?
For me, it was a little bit similar because in rehab, I was very involved with rehab. But once I left rehab, I wasn't hanging out with the disability community anymore, you know. So I basically took a few years off and did my own thing, didn't worry about it, didn't feel welcome in the disability community. And um, it was a while before I came back to it. And you guys have a Triumph Foundation to blame for that. They had a sports festival out at one of the universities here, and I went out there and I happened to meet Andrew and Kirsten from the Triumph Foundation, and they said, "We don't know you. Where are you from? What do you do? Uh, are you newly injured? We've never seen you before." You know, and I had to tell them my story and what was going on and all that, and it was through that chance meeting that I became involved with Triumph and involved with the community again. And I've been involved with the community again ever since.
That's great. How about you, Sue?
So for me, right out of, immediately I got into some wheelchair sports and knowing people, and then I went to Berkeley, which has got a huge amount of disabled people, and so I was pretty, with the community. But then I, moved back to the South Bay, got married, and did the mom thing and working, and hardly knew anybody in wheelchairs. Really, it wasn't part of my lifestyle. And it's more since I've retired early that I found rowing and kayaking, which are both adaptive sports, and an organization similar to Triumph, which is NorCal SCI in Northern California. And I keep doing events and learn. It's been a lot of years, but I keep learning and I keep trying to learn because everybody's got some tricks for me and some product that makes my life easier, or I might help them in the same way. So now I'm back in with it and enjoying it.
Yeah. And in a way, this platform is an example of that. And I know our good Leon, who we had on our show not too long ago, has said, the Tyrol has changed my life, and um, great to be on here. So now he is, surrounding himself with that type of, lifestyle and culture. Um, but what do we really think about when we think of lifestyle and culture? Some I found, and they had six
Yeah.
representation of it. The first one was disability pride. The disability community creates slogans and merchandise to promote disability pride and positivity. For example, social media campaigns, hashtag signs like say the word, disability pride, identity, and community as some of the hashtags. Then there's disability representation. The disability community works to ensure representation in films and TV shows. For example, Ali Stoker became the first wheelchair user to win a Tony Award. Um,
Yeah.
yep. And, now it is nice to see that more and more disabled actors, and we just had Toby um, on our show on Tuesday, and getting more and more parts and lead roles, and things like that. So if you haven't checked that one out, check out with um, Toby on our Tuesday show. Accessible places, I think this, or spaces, I'm sorry, accessible spaces. Accessible spaces are designed to be welcoming to all bodies. For example, some building offices have common free spaces, low concierge counters, lift doors that stay open longer. I agree with all that, except I've never seen a door stay open long enough. And then there's travel, accessible travel. Some organizations create accessible traveling experience. There's technology, people who use assistive technology, such as wheelchairs, considering their device to be an extension of their personal space. And then, I think nowadays our phone is the biggest help of all of for all of us. And then wheelchair sports, people can participate in wheelchair sports, um, such as rowing and tennis, and pretty much any sport we can adapt out there.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean, go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say now, what about you, Bobby? Because I know you've been pretty active from the beginning and as a mentor's mentor, and just involved even before things were structured or organized as a foundation or anything like that. So where do you come from with that?
I think it was pretty well and built into me at an early age, with sports and being in a competitive sports. And I just had a natural act of being, it helped being good. And then when I was done with whatever I was doing, if it was riding a bike, running, or swimming, I would go back and get the slower people and help them along. Hey, and they would look at me and like, hey, I thought you finished. I did. I'm here for you though. And let's go finish. So I think I took that after my accident as a sign of being that type of coach and mentor towards others. So it was kind of instilled in me. And, when I didn't have a organization, or, there's so many great, Triumph does it, Christopher Reeves does it, National Spinal Corps does it, and a few others will send out care packages now, for newly injured. So to feel like you're not alone, you
Yeah.
know, um, it sucks when somebody doesn't falls through the crack and they don't find out about these, but they're out there, and it's nice to see. But when I got hurt, they didn't have things like that, and I saw one person in a chair, and he was a wheelchair pro racer, T12L1, and I was like sort of bugged by it. I couldn't relate with him. So I figured out a way to relate and build my own lifestyle around me. And that was clamming on to certain things, not everything. I do like it when I went to college and I was the only one in a chair there. And I think there was a few others, but between classes, I hardly saw anybody.
In passing.
Yeah, and I just made my way wherever in the sense of I needed a physical course in college, and I went down to the tennis center and said, "Hey, can I play wheelchair tennis?" He was like, "Sure. Do you have any rules?" And I said, "I get 2 bounces. Everything else is the same." It's like, and by the time the I don't know, the 10 weeks or however long college courses were at those times, um, the whole class was helping me out every day or twice a week when the class was, because I would get down there and they would pull my tennis chair out of the car. They'd help me transfer over to tape my racket to my hand, and boom, So, I mean, it was great. I created that kind of lifestyle for my own, that they felt like, hey, if we ever see anybody else in this situation, we can help them out, because we learned from Bobby that it's okay to reach out. And they're like, what do we do? And I always say, first ask if I need help. First ask before you're going to grab anything. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
yeah. And I think just it went along, then I got into work, and I was the only one who with a disability working there. But then I worked with selling. I was doing sales for wheelchairs, and first medical billing, and then sales rep. So they were coming to me anyway, and then eventually getting into quad rugby and all the fun sports like water skiing and snow skiing along the way. So it's just been weaving into me. And then over time, when I got older and wanted a different group, I joined a group that you don't often see somebody in a chair, which was Toastmasters. And everybody's going to Toastmasters to better their speech. And I was always the only one for the most part.
How was it for you when, as you got older, and you started um, doing a little bit a different direction in terms of what you're doing, how you're doing now, but with you realizing, okay, you've already established yourself basically as with the culture and lifestyle that you were uh, working on. So now, as you're getting older, and there's things that you still do, and you're still good at it and all that, is because there's things that have to change as you get older, as in any culture. How are you dealing with that?
Fine in the sense that it's not like it was when I was in my 30s, that's for sure. In my 50s, it's a little bit different because, now family and certain friends, I don't get out as much, make every event like I used to. I know
Yeah,
that, hey, I want me time, and on the weekends I want family time, and all of these other things are on the weekend. So I find it, getting older, it hasn't really affected me much. But I can see for the three of you, and have more of a perfect case than I do, in the sense that the three of you worked where you weren't in that disability community and then got into it after, with
yeah,
Luis and you, Robert, with Triumph and other couple things, Sue with the rowing, adaptive rowing and kayaking. And I think that's what, if you're in the chat and you're watching this later on or whatever, that's what really this means to you. That out there is usually something. You just have to dig for it. But a lot of times you shouldn't have to dig that deep.
yeah,
I understand some people are in small towns and away from big cities, and that's going to be harder. But there are groups that where I met Sue, where we're good friends because of Zoom now and because of the pandemic. That was, a culture was created with this Zoom platform and YouTube in a way. And these, YouTube was been a lot way before the pandemic, but it helped us get through those lonely days. And I think it helps out some of our people in our chat that you can log on and you can hear that this is common for others, that it's okay. I have bladder infections because these guys and gals do. It's okay that I'm feeling down because I hear Lit to Roll is that. So I think, if you really think about it and what I said with disability pride, representation, spaces, accessible spaces, and travel and technology to sports, all of that can be at the tip of your finger with the computer nowadays. And you don't have to feel so alone. So that's
I think
how I think about it. Sue?
all of the adaptive stuff, to me, it's part of just living in the community. Like kayaking, we can get 3 or 4 able-bodied friends and we can do something together where often I can't do certain things with them, or just adaptive hiking or easy trails. It's like yesterday I went to Monterey with my husband and a couple of friends. They went into the water, which I have gone into the water in Hawaii, but I'm not anxious to go in the water in Monterey. It's pretty cool. So, I just run around, explore the town, and then we do our meals. And we were seeing sea lions and all kinds of animals, and but so I can interact with them as much as I want, and in these accessible spaces. And yeah, I remember when you were saying the door opening when we were recently in Morro Bay. I was just so surprised that I went back to the hotel by myself thinking I'm not going to be able to open this door because I've had the really heavy hinges before. And it just opened up. It had no, I think it had no hinge, which
You
I
put
didn't
in
mind.
the Hulk, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it was like, wow, I actually got in and out of this door without a big deal. So to me, it's just find a way to I'll do something while they're doing something else. If that 1 hour of their time is not for me, I'll find my own thing.
Mhm.
It works well.
Yeah.
Sue,
Hmm.
I was going to ask if it's okay to ask you what years that you went to UCB,
What was that,
that you were at
80?
Berkeley.
Well, I went for master's degree too, so it's pretty much 83 to 90.
83 to 90. Okay. I,
Yeah.
I had a peer mentor, a really good friend of mine who
Yeah.
graduated from Berkeley. The nice thing he did after he graduated Berkeley is he became the vice chancellor of community colleges for the state of California.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in a wheelchair. He was polio as a child. Yeah, and then later in life he became vice chancellor for the community colleges, and that's when I knew him.
Yeah.
You know,
As we get older, I think, our views, you asked, Bob, about, now that we're getting older. I think where it is actually more fun for me is being at these events, not to participate like I used to, but to uh, cheer on those who have been
Yeah.
injured 1 year, 5 years,
Yeah.
even 10 to 20 years. And,
Mhm.
knowing that they hear somebody who's been hurt, 30 plus years, they're like, whoa, okay.
It's kind of scare them.
They're good. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to let myself go. I'm going to still make sure I'm keeping in shape. And if they said, hey, you got to compete with us, I know I can get my butt in there, but I'm not going to do it for everything. I deserve that time off of saying, hey, no, you guys do it.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
earned my keep. Let's put it that way.
yeah, well, I kind of go along with it and agree with you because, like, for me, I don't really participate much in the sports or anything. I do like going there and cheering people on and stuff like that. But it's such an enjoyment to get to see that positive vibe of the newer injuries and people are when you go to these events, it's all positive, and I kind of really enjoy that type of the sense of being and belonging and identity that all these people are developing or already have or whatever. So I think that's a really good thing, and it also contributes to spilling into other communities. So I think it's a good thing, and like I said, lots of times I don't say I've been in the chair over 50 years because I don't want to scare the younger injuries or newer injuries to think in with what they may still be capable of accomplishing. So it just my whole point when I try to talk to people and do mention my years, it's all about saying yes, there's life after injury, and it could be a good life, positive life, things like that. So that's the purpose of that.
But I think it can go both ways if you think about it with saying that you're hurt 50 years, that, hey, not all those who are injured today are going to walk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it does help that if you can say, it has been 35 years, that you can do it if you don't get back what you're hoping. And I hope you do first and foremost,
Yeah.
but if you don't, then that just like what I did, and just like the three of us or four of us here did, we preserved and we carried on with our lives, no matter how literally shitty it got, in our van, or had a piss day, and flat this and you name it, and A didn't show up, or the list can go on and on. But we preserved. As frustrating as life can be, it can also be just as frustrating for somebody else. Able-bodied, their car breaks down, and then get a flat, and then this, and this, then that, and just constant. They get hacked or whatever. They can just go on and on. But I think, and I want you guys to comment on this, for our topic, probably what was that probably put the nail into the boards was our ADA. Passing the ADA law in 91. I would say, having that around for the last 30 plus years has really helped changed and helped that disability culture that we have been thriving for and didn't have before. I forget who said it earlier about, it's like the culture of being at camp with a bunch of disabled kids. I think it was Jeffrey. And, they, if you watch that documentary of Crib Camp, they're the ones that fought for this and help us have these accessible places, and not just put off to a camp and led to our own devices because they think we're nobody. And so I think that really helped shape who we are today, at least here in the States, and it might not be everywhere. But, now we can have, accessible places, spaces, representation, we can have some accessible travel. Is it perfect? No, we know that. And it's not going to be. Might be great for some and not for others, but we know that nothing's perfect. And I don't care what, able-bodied or not, nothing's out there that's perfect for everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad that ADA came along and all that, because in the long run, and now it took a while because there's still, obviously, like we just said, there's still issues out there. But see, for me, I was already 17 years into my disability when ADA came out, so I already kind of had my workarounds already, and stuff like that. So I think now within the last maybe 5-10 years is when I realized more of the accomplishments of ADA, but obviously not enough. We always kind of want to see more, but yeah, it has laid a lot of groundwork, and it has made things a lot better, but there's still more of it and a lot that needs to be done.
Yeah, but for you, I see it more in the technology side of aging. When we age, I think our technology is going to be that much more or
beneficial.
Essential in
Yeah.
our daily lives. And that could be, the computer, so we can be on Zoom,
Yeah.
to assistive devices to help move our manual chair along, the smart drive or a scooter
Yes.
attachment,
Hmm.
uh, to just even having lighter wheelchairs. Uh,
Yeah.
and Alexa and the other Siri and all those things. And now we even have something even scarier, which is AI. But in the long run, it could help us out. So I think that it falls for us aging. More of the technology part of it.
Definitely, definitely. The technology is it's like when I first was told about the expo in 2018 or whatever, the first one I went to. They told me I was going to be mad, and it was Anthony with Triumph. He goes, "You're going to be mad." I go, "Why?" He goes, "You're going to go there and see all the stuff that they have now that they didn't have when you got hurt, and how it makes life a lot easier and stuff like that." And I go, "Oh, what are you talking about?" When I got there, it was nice, and I embraced the technology because I'm all about making my life easier, and I'm sure everyone else is. It's no one wants to fight, fight, fight. It's nice to have something that can help you, and especially with aging, because when we get to certain years, you're no longer dealing with the disability anymore. It's just aging. It's that. It's no longer this doggone wheelchair or this that. It's just other things that are affected. So when your disability and age cross paths, anything that provides help and makes life easier, I'm raising my hand.
Yeah.
Sue, are you using any technology or assistive devices in your life?
I mean, I use a power chair. I have a van that I drive, and actually, I'm taking a little break from it because I'm just not sitting in there. Right, it's hard to reach, so I got to figure that out. But one thing I do a lot is things like Instacart, getting all the groceries delivered, and
Hmm.
that's something
Yeah,
I
yeah,
with my husband. He's able-bodied, and he's definitely fixing things that I can't fix and doing lots of stuff. But I try to figure out what are the things I can do to participate. So he loves that there's groceries showing up whenever we need it, and other things that can be delivered or done remotely is
yeah.
something that we do.
That's a
Well,
that's a big and that's a big help nowadays. The grocery thing, because before you'd have to wherever you went grocery, you're pushing the chair, I mean pushing the basket and all that, trying to reach this and that, and then the the procedures of being able to have things delivered or picked up or curbside service or whatever, it made it all, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even
yeah,
think about
Yeah,
and
I
that.
mean, I don't go inside drugstores
Yeah,
anymore.
same here.
Never.
Delivery and Amazon. I also became a big fan of Amazon and
Mhm.
online shopping. I go, yep, this is perfect.
me and
I
Amazon.
also do love assistive devices. When I find like the quad tools and things like
Yep,
that. And
yep,
Hmm.
so yeah, now I used to not get the mail. Our mail's up at the street, and my hands don't work. So, but now I can pinch and pull it out and put it in a
yeah,
bucket on my lap, and
yeah.
we'll just add that to be one more thing I can kind of do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I know there's another device that
There it is. There it is. I see it.
I gotta put it down, or I'm gonna be really annoying with it. There's another device that I know that you use, Sue, that probably wasn't around 10 years ago, and those are portable power chairs, and um, they like to
Yeah,
take her husband's
yeah.
truck, her or with a Tesla truck, and so it's easy to fold up, and we didn't have those 10 years, and now
Actually, the
it's
Tesla truck we put my 350-pound chair in.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
No,
use.
seriously, yeah. So my husband likes Tesla, and he had the Model Y, and because my car, my van, it's old, and it's really, when you go over a bump, you scrape and all this, and it's really noisy, and it's highly sensitized. So he hates to drive it. Say if we're going an 8-hour drive to San Diego. So he thought, oh, I want to, drive a Tesla that is easy, and he loves driving it. It's easy to drive, but so we got a sliding board to do that, and then we had a push. Well, actually, we bought a very lightweight power chair like on Amazon that weighs 60 pounds, and he would fold it and lift it in there. And we just use that for like a big trip or a 2 hour drive or whatever. So he's more comfortable driving. But recently he got the Cybertruck, and he got just portable ramps, and my chair elevates like a bar stool. So I slide down into the truck. Kind of downhill is always the best way, right?
Yeah,
And
yep.
and I can lower it and go downhill out. And he actually just can roll this 350-pound chair up into the back of the truck and close that cover over it with it reclined.
Cool.
So it does
Cool.
work pretty well. But when we do that, I still try to, we don't want to transfer me like 3 times a day because it's a big deal. So I
Yep.
you know, look into things like, hey, there's a local bus here, and I'll go to there, or I'll just drive my chair 3 miles and meet you at the next stop, and it works
Yeah.
out pretty well.
Well, it's funny too because how you mentioned that, because I know before, I used to be able to do transfers in and out no matter what. Nowadays, it's like if you're going to do something, okay, now how many transfers I'm going to be doing today, and you kind of put that into your schedule because you to kind of plan your day. But yeah, definitely, and it's all about again making life easy, and that's what I am enjoying now in this era of my disability. There's a lot going on out there. Unfortunately, a lot of it is expensive right now because it's new technology, but eventually I think it should settle down. But new technology is expensive. I get it.
And sometimes in through the community, I learn, oh, here, this purple cushion works great for when I go sit on the rowing boat, and it's like $40 instead of
Yeah.
$400-$500 cushion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not something I'm sitting on all day long, but
Yeah.
I'll put it in the car, and it's nice sometimes when you can just not get it from the medical
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
and the price goes down to 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
my last
true.
cushion I bought at Costco for $20, and
And it's good enough.
it's a great cushion.
That's great.
I do have to put warning, please. If you do not have feeling on your bottom, like
Yeah, I was gonna say.
make sure you
Yeah.
invest in something a little bit more than $20 of your cushion. Make sure you're
Yeah.
getting a proper cushion that might not be $20, but I think we
Yeah.
said that, Amazon is one of our newest best friends, especially with
Yeah.
a disability. And there's so many little things like my wife's like, oh, I need this little thing. And it's just so easy now, to get on there instead of getting in my car and, heading over to Lowe's, get out of my car, go into Lowe's, get back in my car, and then come home and then get back out of my car.
Yeah.
Those transfers, like you said, Sue, we're not going to transfer it 3 times,
Yeah.
4 times a day, but it makes it, and I'm blessed that I get to live in a neighborhood where I can take now my scooter, my attachable scooter, and I pop that on and I roll right over, and I have to go over a freeway bridge. And luckily there's a bridge, a walkway they built right next to the street. So I can go up and over that and through the neighborhood and then pop out on the other side and make it to the CVS, and I can make it down the other way just as easy. It takes, I know our good friend Tom on our Tuesday show, that is his transportation, and that's what makes it work for him, by using his power chair. Shawn, I don't know if you got your text, but I sent a couple pictures of an accessible trail if you wanted to put it up when I was spending some time with Sue up north for the day as my brother. So, welcome in,
Sue,
Doug. We got Doug, we got Paul, we got Leon, we got oh man, I don't want to butcher this name. Takani,
Good luck.
APAC. Sorry by Nicole's in the house. We got Leon and Jeffrey and
Olivia's here.
Olivia.
Black Olive.
Oh, there she is. Just found her. All right. So just wanted to make
Thanks
sure we
to everybody. Yep.
And when you were talking about technology, I'm probably exercising at least 5 days a week, and mostly on the Zoom class in addition to the getting on the boat. But I think if I had to drive 30 minutes to go to a gym and then exercise and drive back 30 minutes, it would not happen that often. And so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so easy. It's like, what's my excuse? I can go down the hall and do it. So.
No, that even if it was 10 minutes, I would still have a hard time than working out at home. It is just so nice that you're in the middle of something, stop, okay, here, let's exercise, and then go back and like right after exercise, I can hit dinner right away. And I don't have to drive home or anything like that. So it is nice to find exercising online and have that at the tip of our fingers. Grandma's in the house, and Eric just showed up. So welcome, welcome in. Before we get going, I know we're getting to our hour, and thanks everybody for joining us at the little bit later hour. I was affected today. Oh, there we are. So Stu and I got to go through this awesome trail, and later on this year, our friend Paul from the chat, he got to join her and do the same trail. So it was so awesome to go through there.
Where
It's
was
like
that at?
2,000-year-old trees. It's in Santa Cruz Mountains. Yeah, they're
Nice.
2,000-year-old trees. Yeah, they're huge, like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Is that
Of course,
Big
unless you
Pine?
have a person there, you can't see how big the tree is, or do you have people there? Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I didn't send it to him. Oh, well. Yeah, there was one that your son took of us, and there's your son and your husband with my wife. They're resting as we're goofing off, probably. So,
It's nice. Nice.
It's a very nice place. Yeah.
Is that
and
Big Pine Reserve?
what's
It's called
that?
Cowell Redwoods.
Big Pine Reserve,
No,
where they
called
lost a
Cowell
lot of the
Redwoods.
redwoods a few years ago in a fire.
No. What is it called? Sue?
Big Pine.
No. Sue.
Cowell Cowell Redwoods. Cowell.
Okay.
There's the oldest one of the oldest steam locomotives that they have there that takes you up one of the highest peaks that a train can. So that was kind of cool. Thanks, Eric. And then we have it. Oh, Robin Terror with us. Welcome. Hey. Before we wrap up, start thinking about any last thoughts while we go through our shows. But thanks for joining us today on Live to Roll. And we got on at 3:30 because I had to coach a class because one of our instructors, she lost power because she was in Florida, but luckily she's okay. And so we got on late. But make sure you check us out next week on Tuesday with Tom and back with Shawn on our everyday 3:30 Live to Roll every Tuesday with Shawn and Tom. I don't know what the topic is yet, but Shawn always has something up his sleeve. And then he's kind of taking a break, but don't forget about going back and looking at some of the old film of Tom gaming with T Fizzle. He's every Wednesday. Soon he's going to be back, hopefully. And on this, what week are we? Second week. So we got, third week. Is it third Thursday already? Jeez. We got I can never say it. Real Girl Talk. I get so tongue-tied on that one. I don't know why. So Brianna and her posse is going to get on, and they always have a great show. That is on 3:00, the usual time. And then you can check out our Golden Oldie or us back, and we're going to be back one more time this month in October. And we don't have a topic, but we'll be back. And last week, don't forget that we had Golden Oldies on. Check out their podcast. It's in the archives, so make sure you check them out. I just watched the show yesterday, and it was a great show. So, thoughts. I'm going to start with you, and we got Leah in the house. Luis, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
Last thoughts about our topic today?
I think it's important to remember those things that we went through and carry them with us. And I love the fact that we're talking to Sue, who's from a different part of the state, because there's different programs available, whether it's NorCal or SoCal. And, because there's a lot going up in NorCal, more than people realize. And there's a lot of programs up there that are pretty awesome that need just as much exposure. There's programs over in Chico and Sacramento, in the Bay Area and the South Bay, and there's a lot of things that we could cover in NorCal. Because also, I don't think NorCal's having a Abilities Expo anymore, are they?
No.
Yeah, that's disappointing to me, that it's a pretty big area. They haven't had it since before COVID. And,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a trip for me to go somewhere else to see it. And, missing it.
Keeps coming and going up in that area. How about you, Robert?
I think just the fact that we're exercising the technology on this end, with the Zoom and all that, shows that there is a culture, there's a lifestyle. We got people here tuning in to check it out, so it shows that the community is everywhere. Like Luis was just saying, Northern Cal, Southern Cal, all of the other states, different places that allow us to be seen. So it shows that there is pride out there, there is involvement, there is the sharing. So that alone right there shows that the wheelchair culture, and the identity of the group is spreading, and we're out there doing more and more. We're on the internet, things like that. So I think it's the right direction, and I think us as elders in this community have a lot to share and help and direct.
Absolutely.
That's it. Yeah. And you, Bobby, what's up with that?
Well,
What do you got?
Let's get with Sue first. We'll get with Sue first, real quick.
Okay.
Any last thoughts?
I just was thinking about inclusion and accessibility. I know sometimes when my children were growing up, there'd be certain events, parents should come, and I couldn't get to it down some steps, or, so I think the whole kind of world needs to know that there could be the disabled parent with the able-bodied kid, or the disabled kid with the able-bodied parent, or just about anybody, their own parents get elderly and end up in a chair or something. So, going to work and they said, hey, we're all going to the baseball game, but yet then the ticketing I was sitting separate, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit of some areas to be fixed, but it can happen, and you can make it happen with, sometimes it's frustrating though when things like that happen, though, separation.
Absolutely. And I think for myself, and I saw it earlier, Apex, and up in Alaska area, and that's great. And they're like, hey, I'm staying here, as much as it might be a little bit hard up here, and maybe easier somewhere else. They love it, and I don't blame them. But that goes to saying, those that are not blessed, like, Southern California or Northern California, where you have a lot of programs, this is the time when you can make a program for yourself. What do you find an interest? If it's something to do with technology, if it's something to do with a small group, or something in your area where you can invite others to come and make something out of it. So there are opportunities, and to be creative, it's getting out into your community and finding what would work best for you, and then see if there's a need for it. Design your own culture.
Yep.
Before we log off, I want to make sure everybody hits that like button, smash that like button. Robert, can you just give a little 2 cents of our great sponsors at Mobility Works and
Sure.
Mobility Professionals?
All righty. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Mobility Professionals and Urology Professionals. Like I said earlier, they're a great group of professionals that are very good at what they do, and that is providing the best and durable medical equipment along with excellent customer service, and they are available to help you when you need it. Mobility Professionals services the Southern California region, so contact them if you're in need of any DME equipment. Their sister company, Urology Professionals, can help you with your catheter needs. They service nationally, so wherever you're at in the U.S., give them a call if you're in need of catheters. Urology Professionals. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. Thank you to our sponsors. Everyone in the chat, hit that like button, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Live to roll.
Nice to have you.